Yo, what up team? Coming at you with another video, Tulsa Tough episode 6. Today what I'm going to do is run through the race from last week. The Dunsfold 2-3 race, which was the Kingston Wheelers, hosted by Kingston Wheelers. There's Dunsfold Surrey League race hosted by Kingston Wheelers. That's right. Confusing, I know. Confusing for me too. So let's have a look. Righto. So let's have a look at this race. It's here it is. Surrey League Dunsfold 2-3. 94.96 kilometers, 2 hours 30 seconds for me. It's 42k average. Average heart rate 162, which is kind of near my threshold, so it's probably not that good at being efficient or being race smart. Max 181, which is a couple of beats off my max as well. Max power 1195, which is okay for me at the moment. I'm not really going super strong with the max watts, but nearly 1200 is pretty good, and in a race also means that I had some legs to push a bit. Now let's have a look at the circuit here. So we started at HQ, which was just up the road, and we came down and straight up the hill to start. You can see here this whole section was uphill into a headwind. Then we kind of had a bit of a flat section across the back. Took a left turn. This left turn here was, no, I wouldn't say nasty, but it was definitely a bit punchy. Bit punchy coming out of this left turn because there was a bit of a ramp up to it. Let's see if we can get that. Yeah, so just out of the left turn here, you can see that coming out of the left is uphill, and then we went for a fast downhill through here, which was a bit wet actually. It was felt, I mean, not super dangerous, but definitely not super safe. And then we kind of had a bit of a drag back up to the next left, which was again into a downhill section. Now this downhill section through here was pretty steep, as you can see, like 8% down, and there was actually water across the road, so the road surface and the number of bikes through the race created interesting conditions, shall we say, and some people were slightly riskier than others. And most certainly this is where the max speed of the race was. So here we have 65 and 64 k's an hour. So the max speed was, 65.9. So, I mean, the first lap here, if we just have a look at that first lap. First lap was actually the fastest at 43.3k average. And for me, that's 244 watts. Average heart rate 162, so right off the bat the race started quite strong, and we hit it pretty hard. So let's have a look at here. So that's 1, 2, 3 laps, third lap. Yeah. So if we have a look at some of the other guys that were racing, Cycling Raw, Jack, he actually got second on the day, so his first lap was the same, 43.3. We all rode that together. His second lap, however, was 44.2, and he was in the breakaway early on there. So he was with a group of, I think, 6 riders to get clear just after the left turn here on the start of the second lap. They climbed that quite well. You can see 5:37, and my climb on that time was 5:44. So that's a good 7-second gap already. Just from that segment, 7 seconds. So yeah, my lap time was 14:28, and his lap time was 14. So they put 30 seconds into the peloton in that second lap. Unfortunately, Jack dropped his Garmin, and you can see here, this is where he dropped his Garmin. You can see he stopped right here. He stopped for a short period of time just here and picked up his Garmin and rejoined the group. So I guess what we can do is we can have a look at the race winner now and see what happened there. So actually, it's a little difficult to tell because Tom Springvet didn't start his Garmin until 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it looks like he's missed the whole first lap. But what's interesting here is we can take a look at weighted average power, 245, which is pretty strong. I guess his FTP is 360 watts, so he's riding very, very strong there. 155 BPM average, so considerably less than me, and max was also less. But that max power as well, 1455, that's quite strong. Average power, 315. My average power, so sorry about that. Yeah, so my average power was 229, and Tom's average power 315. So that's a considerable difference there. Calories has got 1878, and I've got 2198. So I think Strava is using heart rate to calculate calories, and that would make sense why my calorie expenditure is considerably higher. But we can see here my total work based on the power meter was 1859, and his was 2242. So he's actually working harder than I was, which makes sense because of his extra power. So let's take a look here and see sort of what was going on and what the differences are in the racing, and sort of try and break down a little bit what happened. So we can see here that after Jack dropped his Garmin and rejoined the race, is put in, we're doing like 1450, 1450, 1430. So it's probably the same, yeah, like 1450, 1450, 1430, 1445, and 1449. So we put in consistent laps. So he's dropped his Garmin on this lap here, 1451. Then we had a monster lap actually, trying to chase that back. We did a 1432, and if we look at Tom's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. So on this lap, Tom's doing 154 BPM, quite low through here, 139. His average power is still quite high, but you can tell he's got quite a bit of fitness at the moment. His heart rate comes down quite nicely. He's not doing too much power. He's still getting like a nice drag in the bunch. And through here, through the downhill, it's not used any energy. He's come straight back down to like nearly recovery, and just pushed a little bit, and the heart rate's come back up. But he's had quite a good lap there, 1429 and 1432. So we're still sitting in the same bunch. If we go forward, we can see that Tom's doing the same thing every lap. He's just cruising with the bunch. His heart rate's coming down. He's pushing a little bit where he needs to, but heart rate's still quite low. And if we look at mine in comparison, my heart rate's coming down, but I mean nowhere near as much as his, and still putting out less power. So 219 versus 255, but 143 average versus 161 average. That's considerable, So while he's recovering and resting, I'm still quite stressed in the bunch, and it's still quite new for me to race in the UK. So the road conditions and the weather conditions are still quite foreign to me. It's taken me a little bit more time than I'd like to actually get used to those conditions. If we have a look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5th lap to go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 41.8 average, and seems like Jack's kind of just chilling, like not going too hard. His heart rate and his watts are probably just chilling. So next lap, 4 to go. So again, still quite low heart rate for Tom. Just putting a bit of pepper down when he needs to, but also cruising quite efficiently. Whereas I'm still, there's 4 to go. This lap I'm riding quite hard the whole lap. 2:43, so my heart rate's not come down at all. So about this point in the race, I'm probably feeling quite fatigued and not feeling too happy about going so hard. But that's racing, and it's all good. It's 3 laps to go. At this point of the race, I did 197 watts. I think I started taking it a bit easier here, and you can see the heart rate's come down a few times. So it's come down to about that 130 level, which is good. I should probably do this a bit more often and take my foot off the gas a little bit, sort of sit in a little bit more. If we look at Tom's third lap to go, 4th lap. So if we look at Tom's 3rd lap to go, you see something interesting happen, because where his heart rate's come down, and he's actually put a bit of power down here and created a little bit of a gap from the peloton, and 400 watts for 5 minutes to create a gap on 3 laps to go. 2.5 laps to go. If you look at that third last lap, it's 14:36 for the peloton, and Tom's done it in 14:10. So he's put 26 seconds into the bunch, which is quite impressive. And then the next lap he's done 14:49, and we've done 14:45. So we only took back 5 seconds while he's maintained his gap of at least 15 seconds. The last lap we also did 14:49, and he's done 14:41, so he's put another 8 seconds into us in that last lap. So he still has a gap of at least 20 seconds coming to that finish. And as you can see, the finish here is we go straight, we go right at the bottom of the hill, and then it was 400 metres straight uphill. So if we look at that 400 metres, the finish is about here. That's 400 watts for a minute, with a max heart rate of 173 and average of 170. So it's traveling 32 k's an hour. And if we look at that same sort of thing for myself, actually, let's just grab that segment. There we go. 49 seconds for Tom to win the race, and I've done that in 41 actually. So he's given up 8 seconds of his lead of 20. So finished in front of me at least, or in front of the bunch at least 15 seconds. So fair play to him. My speed up there was 37.7 and his was 32.3. So if we look at Jack's in the end there, I have no idea what's going on with his with this thing here, but he's done that in 30, about the same as us, right? Like about the same as Tom, sorry. So 33 k's an hour. Oh, here it is. Right, is that right? What's on the hill? Yeah, so 49 seconds, 52 seconds for second place, and we did it in 41 seconds. So, geez, we did it considerably faster, but just goes to show that if you're in front and you have a gap, then you can make it stick, and you can ride more at your pace than you can at the peloton's pace. So that's that's pretty much the breakdown. I know it's not very exciting and not very helpful, but basically you can see that my heart rate was way too high for the whole race, and Tom's ridden a very, very smart race. His heart rate's quite low every lap until he needed to, and then when he needed to, he just opened up the afterburners and let it rip for the rest of the race. So again, congratulations, Tom, for winning, and good on you. Good work, Jack, for coming second, and hopefully give you a bit more of a breakdown for the next race and a bit more insight or a bit more analytics into what goes into winning a race. If you want, hit that subscribe button. It really helps, and I'm trying to get enough subscribers so that I can change the name of the channel. I really appreciate it if you could share this with anyone who might be interested, and we'll see you on the road. Peace out.